ambiguous, nondescript something bowl. Can't call it the thing. The game at the end of the season. Supersized bowls. So I'm starting a little early. I put in a little bit of a buffer. I was joking with Dave beforehand. I was like, I don't know what time this thing's gonna end. I just like let's make up a time. I figured there's enough time. Eric had to get back, from watching the Super Bowl. I invited a few other folks who are commuting, as we speak. So I was like, no, you guys take your time, do what you need to do. We'll hang out, we'll chill for a little bit. Folks that want to pop in and hang out a little bit, they certainly can. And they'll get a notification at some point that we're started and they can watch a replay. I like doing these post Super Bowl thing though; they're fun. If I don't have a horse in the race, it's fine with me. I was just shooting for a good game. We were debating it beforehand, though. I'm not sure. It was a close game. I'm just not sure if it was a good game. And I'm not complete. I'm willing to debate this piece because I'm not sure. It was a close game. Yes. I don't know if it was a good game. That's the part that I'm not completely clear on. Because if the first half had played out the way it seemed to be going, and just for the sake of transparency, I am wearing the Brett Favre trolling jersey because, frankly, the tears of Philadelphia people amuse me. However, in the spirit of transparency, when it came to my dollars and wagering, I did in fact wager on Philadelphia, so I actually lost money, but I'm still willing to enjoy their tears because it amuses me. And in the spirit of that, I can't do this for every team. The taste of victory. Nonetheless, yeah, I lost money on this one because I genuinely thought that Philadelphia, as a full team, I thought that they would be able to put on a full performance. However, if you go look at, that's why I say I'm not sure and happy to chat through the game here as it played out. If you look at the time of possession in the first half, Philadelphia dominated the first half, and outside of that fumble that allowed Kansas City to literally stay in the game, it should have started the process of what looked to be kind of headed towards a rout. Like it actually felt like it was in the process of separation was going to start. But by the time it was done, it was a lot close. I think it was a 10-point game at the half. Remember, Sergey? I think it was 10 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, which felt way closer than it should have been. Way closer. And obviously that allowed Kansas City to chip their way back into it and then take the lead. And then Philadelphia came back. So that's where I guess the back and forth. The tail end I think was good. Then you've got, like I said, Chad here talks about the BS holding calls and all that. Look, the referee ball is going to come into play the second you leave it close. That's why I said a second ago, you don't worry about the referees if you're up by 30. If you're up by 30, you don't care. A referee blown call here and there is not going to do you in. But if the game stays close, then all of a sudden their significance and importance magnifies a lot. And then it becomes real important that they make a call. Lawyer says it was a great game. Paul would enjoy this type of game. People will look to a questionable call at the end, but it was a great game. I debate that one a little bit. I think it was an okay game. I'm going to go with okay, but it was close. I'll agree with that piece. The footing was the same for both teams. They got to do a better job. That was the other thing. There seemed to be a lot of slipping and sliding on that kind of field.
It makes no sense to me. These facilities know a year or maybe more in advance that the biggest single day sporting event on the planet Earth is going to be here on this date at this time. There is no excuse not to have everything absolutely perfect for that event. It wasn't like last week, the stadium that was going to have it burnt down and they had to quickly move it someplace that wasn't prepared. It was a known event with a year plus forewarning, and they couldn't get the field right. And I think that's a real shame. And I think it's a black eye for the league.
I don't know, Dave. You got a different perspective of it. You kind of got to hear how it played out. How did it sound? Let me kind of ask you this way: how did it sound like to you? What impression were you getting based on the way things were being described to you?
They had Mike Golick on the sideline as one of the sideline reporters, and he was saying there's a lot of divots. It's like a golf tournament without picking up your divots. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it's been basically all year in Arizona. Mm-hmm. The problem there is Arizona played, I think, their last home game was, I think, before Christmas.
I think it's right. Yeah. Something
So,
like that.
because I know the last 1 or 2 games were on the road, and that's like sort of JJ Watt's like going away party there. So you basically had 7 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks, to transform the trash turf to something acceptable, hopefully better.
Yeah.
For, as Eric said, one of the bigger sporting events or any event in the world, eyes wise and monetarily, to be up to snuff. This is so when you, and again, the impression I got from listening, because I listened on the radio, if you see my name down there, it says Amish. I shun technology.
No, we'll teach you the over the air antenna ways. We'll get you on that train.
I need a YouTube tutorial, so
Perhaps.
I'm hoping
I've been down
someone
this
else.
road. I've lived this life, Dave. I've lived this life, I assure you.
So just listening to it, it sounded like Woodstock, where you're basically just in a shitty field playing football in front of a lot of people for a lot of money. And NFL once again striking out. Goodell probably will have to answer questions. He'll probably say, well, this is the best field crew that we've had ever, just like the referees are the best referees ever. Again, I need to borrow his rose-colored glasses, because I don't believe a lot of folks out there see that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And when it can deter from the game like it did, that makes it a detriment to even the novice fan out there. So hopefully next year they get their shit together, or they go to the field turf game where it's over in like Los Angeles, or it will never be in Minnesota because it's Minnesota. So
the only advantage Minnesota has is that you can do it indoors, but the downside is yes, Minnesota. Where you're going to put all the listen. I'm sorry, Elon Musk is not coming to Minnesota to hang out in your luxury boxes. I'm afraid.
In the middle of winter, nobody wants to go to Minnesota.
In the middle of summer, few people want to go to Minnesota.
Yeah, but to continue this, and Dave's 100% right in everything he just said. The thing that really kind of proved how bad the field was, because they showed many clips of just divots coming up with these guys' cleats and their plant foot slipping out. The one that really stuck out, though, is when the kicker put his left plant foot down and tried to kick. His left foot slipped right out like he was on ice, and a big chunk of grass came up with his foot. Now, you want to see a kicker blow out an ACL, that's one way to do it.
Yeah. Now, Dave, I might have amnesia this one. I've watched all those. I've been watching the Super Bowl since the early '90s. So did they do one in Minnesota some years back here?
The Philly special. That was up here.
Well, so there you go. So Ed has nothing to complain about. I don't want to hear any complaints from Ed then.
No
like
complaints.
that was the one where they got it. So they had it in Minnesota. There you go. Done. You had your moment. That's why I look. Part of the reason I enjoy teasing about, again, just to be clear, I bet on Philadelphia. I actually thought they would put together the complete, like my thought process was, and my other thought process was, if I'm Philadelphia, just go for Mahomes' knees. Like intentionally just go for them. Like sacrifice somebody and literally just go straight for them. Dive bomb straight for them. That would have been my tactic. Oh, but Carlos, it's not sporting. Do you want to win or not? Is your objective to win this or not? But obviously they didn't do that. All I'll say is that Philadelphia doesn't have the... I can't feel bad for the Philadelphia guys. I really can't. Because the whole thing with the Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl that time around was they won against Tom Brady. Big deal, right? And they did it with Nick Foles, which amuses me and only strengthens my jokes on Tom Brady. So, I appreciate that. But the other piece of it is that ended the drought. That got them a championship. There you go. Hey, congratulations. Well, the problem is that wasn't that long ago. So I'm sorry, you don't get to play the drought card. Look, you won a Super Bowl not that long ago. Go back and watch your Eagles Super Bowl winning DVD. Quit your whining. Deal with it. We'll move on with our lives. I'm being serious when I say this. When we were talking about it beforehand, whether you like it or not, I understand. Totally. 100%. However, I will say this. When it comes to this game, if we're talking about from the sports card side of it and all that, it is better that Kansas City wins. Because then at least you've got a narrative for okay, so can Patrick Mahomes become the dominant guy in this era? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. But Philadelphia winning does nothing. Philadelphia winning is like the Rams winning last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it happened. That's cool. When are pitchers and catchers gone? Like, we may as well just move on. Like, that's the thing. It's like, feel bad for the Philly fans. Like, they're very passionate about it, with due respect. But it's like, it hasn't been that long. Calm down. Anyway, so this one here, Super Bowl 26 was also Minnesota. Thank you for that. Sweep the leg. That's right, Paul.
Buffalo and Washington.
Nice, nice.
That was a what was the quarterback's name? God, I can't think of it.
Mark Rippon?
Yes, it was his big game, and
yeah, because they had three of them, right? So it would have been Rippon or it would have been Williams, just depending on which year it was. So because those two guys won two of those, and then obviously Theismann was the first of the three. So yeah, Rippon. That looks like this, right? Eagles defense like Kansas City score very easily. Yeah, they really did. Colors scouting for the Buddy Bowl. Listen, go for the win.
Yeah,
You feel like I'm being serious. Like, I'm 100% serious. In the first half, if you're Philadelphia, it felt like you should have been up like 14 points to 20 points. Like, you really should have been running up the score at that point. Like, and if they had, I don't think Kansas City comes back. Like, honestly, if they had really put the boots to them in the first half, I don't think they come back. I don't think that happens. So they kept them within range, and well, now game on, right? If you're conspiratorial, well, the referees, you made it easy for them. It's like, oh, it's in range? Okay, so now our flags matter a lot. All right, we'll throw them at the right times. Don't worry about it.
Any sporting event, especially a major sporting event, that the outcome is determined by a referee, something has gone wrong. And no major sporting event you should be talking about the refs and contributing to the end factor. Whether it is a good call, bad call, it sucks to have the word referee brought up when you're talking about the game.
Yeah,
that takes the shine off the game. So it's too bad that is definitely a major factor. It's just because I think it was a good game. I think that I think Kansas City had a full game. They had offense, they had defense. Defense scored. They came down to their special teams to win. Every aspect of the Chiefs participated in that win. If it wasn't for those defensive touchdowns, they wouldn't have had enough points to beat Philly. Philly didn't have any defensive touchdowns.
Right.
So, matter of fact, and even though it was setting records, they had a quarterback that scored 3 times.
They did.
That is not a complete game. You actually have running backs that are supposed to do that. If your quarterback is running 3 times for touchdowns, you don't have a complete team game going on. Where Kansas City had one of the most complete team games possibly in Super Bowl history.
Well, outside of the fact, so let me actually, I pulled up a couple of the numbers here just so we're all on the same page here. Philadelphia had more first downs. The margin closed towards the latter portion of the game. So it was 25 first downs to 21 for Kansas City. Total yards, they had more. They had more passing yards by a lot. They got more penalties, which really became a factor later on in the game for sure. And the final time of possession, in the first half, it was dominant time of possession difference. It did level out a little bit, but regardless, the time of possession was almost 36 minutes to 24. Like, they controlled the ball for a good chunk of that time, which a lot of time, now, the big differentiator really what it came down to, there was one turnover in the entire game, and it was for Philadelphia. That was the only turnover in the entire game. And it obviously cost them points. And to be honest, they got a little bit lucky, in my opinion, with the other turnover, which was a bang-bang play. I understood by the letter of the rule. I accept the result. That's fine. But I was like, it felt like you had enough time to protect the ball if you had wanted to, and it popped right out.
Listen, he caught that ball securely.
In my opinion, yes.
He made a football move There is absolutely no way that call should have been reversed. And I have listen. I don't wasn't the Patriots, so I don't care. And I didn't have money on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a good game with the rules followed and best team win. That was a garbage call. I mean, he catches it, he turns, he goes to make his first step, he gets popped, and he drops it. That's a fumble every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going through the comments here as we're talking. NFL wants a new megastar. There's your narrative. That's what I'm saying. Like from the card standpoint and that portion of it, it does help solidify Mahomes because it means 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 out of 3 wins. So, and that's big for him. Turnover and great punt return. Yep. That fumble and the Philly catch, dude did not make a football move. I think he did. I think he turned towards
I think you're really silly, and I don't like your opinion.
No, like here's the thing. I don't mind the argument if somebody wants to make it. Like I'm comfortable that on that play, he had ball secured and had the opportunity to protect it, and he let it pop right out.
Yep.
And I kind of would have liked to. I actually would have liked to have seen Kansas City rewarded for what I felt like was a really good hit. I felt like it was a good hit that popped the ball out, and they didn't get to fully capitalize on that. Again, I'm fine with the rest of it. And again, to be clear, what I said earlier, just so we're clear on this, I bet on Philadelphia. so like that's an advantageous call for me in my side of this ledger. I'm saying that in my opinion, I felt like that was a fumble, and they got away with one.
And that's what I want to hear from people. I want to hear people that were rooting for Philly but and either had money on it, they were rooting it, or they're
right now. Ed is in the middle of rioting.
Hey,
he's in the middle of burning something down.
Yeah,
we may not be able to hear from him at the moment.
This is what it is. It went against this team or that team, but this is what it is. I always respect people who are able to do that. I try to do that as a Pats fan. When it's a fumble, it's a fumble. When it's caught out of bounds, it's caught out of bounds. It doesn't matter that I didn't want it to happen. Facts are facts. That guy caught the ball. It was in there tight. He goes to turn to make a football move, and he gets popped, and he dropped it. Defense picks it up, goes into the end zone. That's a touchdown 7 days a week, twice on Sunday.
Yep. I'm just reading, I'm just going to get Paul's comment here. The Sanders catch wasn't a catch by the letter of needing them to complete the play for a fumble. No, I prefaced it by saying, by the strict letter of the rule, because it was such a bang play, like when they played it in real time, I understand. I understand. Like I said, for me, it feels like it was a catch that should have been a fumble. But if you're going strictly by the letter of the rule, I can't argue with it. And again, it would have been it's advantageous for me that didn't turn out that way. But in the end, Kansas City still won. So it didn't. But it would have made things really interesting because that was another potential turnover that Philadelphia coughed up. Kansas City didn't play a perfect game, but they did play an overall clean game, even though, like I said, they managed to avoid any of those critical, like crazy errors. I don't think they played a brilliant game, but they did avoid the critical error. And that is something. That's a big thing on the big stage, that a lot of times these teams will make critical mistakes. And in the past, this Kansas City team has made critical mistakes that has cost them some playoff games. They should have been probably to another Super Bowl that they lost to our favorite, not recently retired quarterback. They probably should have been in that Super Bowl, but they made a critical error on that one. So it does happen. It happens to everybody if you're not careful.
The other thing I want to just quickly say about the game that I thought was really good, many clean, hard football hits. I screamed just naturally several times on some of those hits, and they were all clean. I don't think there was any unnecessary roughness or intent to injure. There was none of that. But some of these people got lit up, and that's how you know it's a good football game. These guys were playing intense the whole game and just lighting each other up.
I'm trying to remember, what was the name of the Kansas City guy who was all over it? Like he was the one who recovered the fumble that they did get. Thank you, Bolton. And he had a great game. Like I was hearing and seeing him all over the place, and he was the one who actually, I think he was the one who laid the hit on the almost could have been second fumble. Like he was all over it. Like to his credit, he was definitely a high performer there that was getting things done for them. So Philly Joe was caring about the over. I understand. I understand. By the way, at the half, the over was so they had bumped the over was 50 and a half. The over under was 50 and a half at the start of the game. And they were at 48 points. They got to 48 points, so they were right on the cusp of it. But then at the half, they had to bump it up because of the scoring that did happen in the first half. And they bumped it up to like 62 and a half, and then they still blew obviously well past that. So I was like, there you go. They went way over. I'd watch videos to have a more informed opinion, but the NFL takes down all highlights. There you go. The NFL catch rule is as clear as the goalie interference rule in hockey. Eric's favorite part was the halftime show. He's a big Rihanna fan.
Well, see, I was about to compliment Bob. Now I'm not.
Right.
I really liked his previous comment, and now I don't like him at all.
You dissing Rihanna is what you're doing right now?
I'm not a fan. I have no personal feelings of her either way. It's just not my type of music. I much preferred Chris Stapleton. I'd rather have him done the halftime show.
Interesting.
It's just a matter of taste. It's nothing personal.
I tried to tell people that they should stop trying to think this NFL thing is legitimate. It's like they're using from the same group that brought you WrestleMania. Here's the Super Bowl. Hey. Come on, Dave knows this. Like, it's like I don't want you guys to enjoy a legitimate sport like professional wrestling and stop with this nonsense about this football. Silliness. It's just silliness. They flipped the script. Last call is why I think esports are the future. No rigged third party. Fair enough. Eric screamed his best. Albert DeSalvo. Wow.
Why do you people continue to link me to the Boston Strangler? I don't understand.
Well, here's the thing. Dave, I got to be honest. You and Paul, I think, would get along really well. His sense of humor is somewhat psychotic. So I think you would enjoy. I think you guys would have fun conversations that I would like to sit in on. Not even necessarily participate. And I like to talk. I would actually just be quite content just to sit back and enjoy the proceedings. I think it would work out really well.
Serial killers.
Yep, that's probably what would happen. Like in all honesty, and wrestling, and we could talk about wrestling. Like Paul's a wrestling fan. I think that could work out very nicely. He's supposed to rig match and cheating. That's true. Funny, the script was 37-34 and the final score was 38-35. Just a different team. Got it close. Just missed it by that much. Who got MVP? I didn't actually see who did win the Super Bowl MVP. I'll see if I can look it up.
I honestly don't. I had to as soon as the game ended. I had
to get changed into my trolling jersey. So like I had preparations to make. I had critical preparation. I had beard pour. I had critical preparations to make, my friends.
The team rushed the field, and that was the last thing I saw.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it here. Oh, here we go. Mahomes battles through injury to earn Super Bowl MVP honors. There you go. The narrative is being written as we speak. It's being written. I was laughing because possibly on the Discord, possibly someone who is a New Orleans Saints fan who was complaining about this. I said, Psh, the New Orleans Saints won a Super Bowl and you expected us to care about, a little hurricane. Oh, some people died. It's like, what? Big deal. It's like, why can't Mahomes have a crippling leg injury that he fought through? He ran for like 40 yards on one play.
Yeah.
On a broken leg, he was like the Black Knight. 'Tis but a flesh wound.
Yeah, that was much more impressive.
Way more impressive.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, though, and another quick thing. He mentions the MVP was the KCO line. If you were watching and paying attention, I have never noticed. So I'm not saying that this is a statistical fact. I'm saying I have never noticed in all my years of watching football, an offensive line such as Phillies just completely dominate a defensive line in Kansas City. That O-line of Philadelphia just shoved. I mean, that last touchdown that helped me with the quarterback name from Philly. It's just I lost
Jalen Hurts.
They just basically picked up the defensive lineman and just walked into the end zone with them, and Hurts just walked. I mean,
well, that's part of the reason why I have to blame Philadelphia, because there were different times where they were able to just do what they wanted. They needed a yard or two. Jalen, it's like, all right, quarterback sneak. You know we're doing it.
Their
I know I'm
line
doing it, and we're still going to do it.
Mhm.
You can't stop it.
stop that line. I'm all I'm saying is I personally have never noticed a line that dominant in any game I've ever watched ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous. They it was like men playing against little boys. They just pushed that defensive line every time anywhere they wanted. I don't think they made one defensive line stop on a play that was just both guys pushing for inches. I think Philadelphia got every single inch they needed throughout that whole game.
Mm-hmm. I would tend to agree. Like it was one of those things where, but again, it goes back to what I said a little earlier. Is you're talking about the team that lost, which is isn't that kind of interesting? Is
Well,
that
yeah,
is
yeah, but I am
and
talking
yet they
about
weren't able to capitalize on that
oh,
as much as they should have been able to.
which goes back to my original thing of Kansas City had one of them, and again, it's an opinion, one of the most complete team games I've ever seen in my life watching a Super Bowl. Philadelphia had a one of the most, in my opinion, again, strongest offensive lines I've ever seen. So that's not a complete team game.
Mm.
Every aspect of Kansas City was dominant at some point and played a part in that win.
And here's the question, Dave, and this would be the way that I would position it. I'm very curious where the teams come out of it going into next year off of this, because Kansas City has been very, very good, and I don't
Mhm.
think this was their best. I don't think this was their A game by far.
No.
There is things that they could have fixed, and if they can find a way to fix them and reload and come back with enough of the components of this team, that team could still be very potent next year. I
Mhm.
don't think Philadelphia is necessarily going to drop off either, but they have some. Let's put it this way, and I'm not saying this just to rub salt in the wound of the Philadelphia fans, although their tears, entertain me. Um, I don't think they could have done much more in this game outside of capitalizing on a few more opportunities.
Mhm.
They really should. This was for the taking. This
Mhm.
was in their grasp, especially after that first half where they were it felt like they were in control, but they weren't completely in control.
Yep.
We just kept looking at the scoreboard and I go, that doesn't seem to reflect what's happening in the game that I'm observing. And that's a mistake. If you are not able to match the two things, basically you let them stay in the game. You let them stay in the
Mhm.
game until they could throw a haymaker and hit you with a quick one and suddenly stun you. And now all of a sudden you're backtracking when you should have been in control the whole time.
No, Philly's going to have to worry about their O line. Kelsey and Lane Johnson, you don't know if they're going to be back. They might retire. Um, Kelsey, just because of length of time in the league, with mid 30s, upper 30s, and Lane Johnson just has had a myriad of injuries over the years. If those two retire, that is a gaping hole on your O line, which you need to plug up. I don't know what draft capital they have. I'm assuming most everything. I think the trades the last couple of years that wiped them out, and this year I think they're back to square one
Mm-hmm.
with what they've got. And again, a lot of that D line for them as well is a lot of piecemeal patchwork guys that are uh, on 1 year contracts or free agents. I know the guy they drafted, I think last year, number one, Rogers from Georgia, the D tackle, and I want to say maybe one or two others are back, but they've got 3 or 4 guys that will be free agents. Again, they were some of the guys they signed mid-year, like Sue. But again, when you have the rotation, that allows you to get that regular season pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to sit there and have 3 down linemen all the time. You can rotate in and out and keep people fresh or semi-fresh for the second half.
Right.
If it's a close game and you got to really work up the rotations, then you got people that can go in. If you got the just bare bones guys out there, that's when you start to see the tired folks out there. You get the running game going for the other team, and you can put the other team to sleep pretty quick. But both lines, I think, have got some folks that are free agents. I think Frank Clark for Kansas City's a free agent too, and Orlando Brown, I want to say if he's not, he's looking for an extension or a bump and pay on that O-line. So there's going to be some puzzle pieces that need to be filled because I don't think everybody's going to be back. And that's obviously where these two teams need to be. You have to have those O and D lines up to snuff so that back half for Philly, which is a good back half, that D line makes it look like a great back half because the pressure they get. And you've got Hurts and you got Mahomes on the offensive side you have to protect. And if you don't, you saw what happened in Joe Burrow last year. I mean, it doesn't matter how good your pieces on the outside are. You don't protect them, you can't get the ball to those pieces. So
I think that's fair. Let me read a couple of these here, but what Dave said also gave me a bit of a thought, so I want to pose a question to you guys. But let me read this one first. So Jay here, good evening. I lost some multiple bets early, but one big in-game with the third quarter. Kansas City minus 2.5. Total net was 3. LeBron James Chuck Toss PSA 10s. I love it. We can measure it in cards. So there you go. I love it. No interest in buying those cards. I own no Mahomes, but he's a baller. Fair enough, Jay. I'm glad that you were able to make up for it. I really should have made an adjustment at halftime myself. I actually was thinking about running up. I actually have this thing set up properly. The way it works here, Dave, is that we can wager online legally. Like, it is completely 100% legal. However, they're very clear on it has to be on these sites that are set up for it. It's in province. You actually have a little location thing, a little application on there that confirms your location to make sure you can actually place the wager. So I have it on my laptop. I don't have it on my desktop. I should have run upstairs on the laptop, hit a couple of buttons, and I could have done it. It's like I just forgot to do it. It would have been wise to make an adjustment.
That is the government's way of tracking you.
Yeah.
Don't fall for it.
They
Tinfoil hat.
They can come by. They can come by anytime. Bring the check. So let me go into here. Yep, didn't like the announcers. I get it. Let's see here. Philadelphia didn't play the second half like a Philadelphia team. I assume they should get roasted by the Philadelphia press. Not sure where they had no game plan for the second half. Well, that's kind of my issue. That was basically what my concern with it when you didn't really capitalize on it at the beginning. But here's kind of my question, Dave, that this made me think about. The fact that they did not have that answer in the second half and let it slip away, really slowly, but it let it slip away. I'm wondering if the narrative leading into the game that they had a very, very soft road really did, because in the NFC Championship they basically fought the Black Knight with no arms and no legs. By the time they got San Francisco, as soon as San Francisco lost Brock Purdy, whatever you think of Brock Purdy, at least he was a quarterback for them. Yeah. And then they lost his backup, so now you're like on your number 4, and Christian McCaffrey had to throw a pass. Like, you're done. Like, you're done. Yeah. So basically, you got to cruise. You basically got to cruise control in the NFC Championship. You got to really easy roll through.
And just to back up, his pass landed in the only spot on the field where there was no people.
Yes.
There was no people there.
Yeah. So fortunately he's going to keep his day job. But the point is this. That's not a hard road to the Super Bowl there. That's kind of and they had to play the Giants. Bless them, but like it's the Giants.
And even that was closer than it should have been.
Yeah. Not exactly a murderer's row though. In the NFC, not exactly a murderer's row to get to the Super Bowl. Did not having a real punch in the mouth moment leading into it hurt them?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because you look at Kansas City, and again, whether you would have played Buffalo or Cincinnati, that game was going to be a dogfight, no matter who it is. And anyone else look at the teams, and again, I can't even think who was in the playoffs, but I mean, previous years, you have the Steelers, you have the Patriots, you have the Ravens. These are all smash mouth teams that are going to be physical. And the premise of their offense 99% of the time is run. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Cincinnati, not as much, but I mean, it's as physical as everyone else.
And they put up a fight. Like, the way Cincinnati is, at least they'll put up a fight. Like, it's not like Kansas City was able to just, Cincinnati, whatever. No, they had to at least fight him a little bit. There was at least a little bit of a struggle to advance forward. Yeah,
and then Philly, again, you get the lucky draw with Minnesota doing what they do best and choking the playoffs.
Not good.
And Kenny Golladay pretty much has one of the top 3 catches of the year. And that's basically his catch this season. because up until that point, the Giants didn't play them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they won by what, about 8 points, 6 points, somewhere in there, when it shouldn't have been that close.
Yeah.
And then you beat San Fran, which you mentioned, Brock Purdy, last pick. Then you have the other Josh Johnson come in on his, again, him and Josh McCown, sort of the same career trajectory, trying to get every jersey from every NFL team. And he comes in, and again, you can't fault him because you don't expect to play, you're prepared to play, but you just don't expect it. Then you come in, and again, you might as well get the guy greeting people at Walmart fucking quarterback. That's where you're at. This isn't high school where you can sort of pluck somebody. Oh, hey, you're the receiver. No, you're going to play quarterback today because the quarterback's hurt. This is the NFL. Then, and you're in the NFC Championship. You can't sit there and play fourth string people. It's not the preseason. So that's that. When you're playing the lower tier of competition, and you're not playing the physicality that Kansas City's had to play. And again, I think one of the things now that Kansas City has to deal with, sort of like New England has had to deal with the last 15, 18 years when they had Brady. And it's dumb because, again, every game you should be putting forth your best effort. I think they start on the schedule. It's like, okay, Kansas City's coming to town, or we're going there. And if it's not like a San Diego or Los Angeles, a Denver and Oakland where you play them twice a year, it's something where it's like, okay, we know we're going to have to fight in that game. It's not going to be, and if we don't, we're going to get trucked and we're going to look like fools. So it's one of those games where you might have a little extra effort, which you shouldn't because you're getting paid millions and millions. But at the same time, you can look at it that way, that people star it on the schedule and like, yeah, we got to go there and we're going to have to beat Mahomes. If we beat him, we're going to have, the press is going to be jubilant about it and give us adulation and accolades. But if we get trucked out of the building, we're going to get scorned by our fan base. So you look at it in that regard too. So again, Kansas City, obviously the harder schedule, obviously taking a lot more of the best shots from their conference. It's always going to prepare them because they've always got to be prepared for the other team's best shot. Philly, I don't think was. It's just like, okay, we're playing Bill Walsh College Football 93. I got Tallahassee. That's Florida State. Charlie Ward, all I got to do is roll him out. That's Jalen Hurts. All I got to do is roll him out, and there goes 60 yards. And then you throw to a couple of receivers, and you score a touchdown.
Quick thing, Dave, kind of playing off of what we're talking about and what you're saying as well. In the same vein, Philadelphia is one of those teams where they were seen as having a soft competition the whole way through. Like it felt like they had a very easy road, even to the regular season record, just running through teams that they're not very good. But what's interesting about it, and you know this, a lot of teams can find motivation and they don't believe in us. Even if you're doing well, they're like, well, they don't believe in us. They think we're fake. They think we're frauds. And then you can use that as motivation. Going into the Super Bowl, they're favored. Does that not take a little bit of you can't even use the bulletin board material. You're the favorite. You're actually, it was slight. It wasn't like this big, you weren't like a 10-point favorite, but 1.5 point favorite. Technically, Philadelphia was considered to be the favorite, and Kansas City was the one who was considered to be the underdog, even though Kansas City has some experience and has been there and has some players.
And I know Travis Kelce, you'd see him after the playoff games, like they didn't believe in us. Nobody believes in us. Nobody, you're thinking these guys are going to win. You're going to think Cincinnati's going to win, going to whatever.
He said
Burrow
Dave. Huh? After the game, he said the same thing tonight.
Yeah.
Seconds after the game, they put a mic in front of him, and he started yelling at the microphone again. Same thing.
Which is true. I mean, again, you've proven now you've got a track record of at least getting to the big game, getting to a big game, the conference title. This isn't like, okay, we got there, now we dip back down in the doldrums of the 5-12 and 6-11s. It's like you are performing at a high level, and I think it's the shiny new toy. Jalen Hurts' year, that's the shiny new toy. Patrick Mahomes and his consistent Patrick Mahomes-esque year, it's like, we expect it. But Jalen Hurts over here, oh man, he runs on like 5 AAA batteries, and you guys are like a 9-volt. It's like, again, they produce, they deliver on results, and they deliver success. But the shiny new toy, it's like, oh man, they're winning 52-21 and 2 pick sixes, and there's like 8 sacks in the game. Wow, what a team. It's like, well, Kansas City, it's like we're winning 38-8. We got 4 sacks and a defensive touchdown. What about us? And Philly. The media gets them all riled up, and then fans start to believe the hype. Which, again, there's rightful hype there, but at the same time, to pretty much diminish Kansas City and their record now of successes. And again, Andy Reid's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a schlub out there like leading the charge and nobody knows what the hell's going on. It's Andy Reid calling the plays, drawing everything up, and
I have to hope that now he is no longer doing time management and clock management, because that was a thing for him. He should never do clock management ever again. Get Bougie Eric to do it. Anyone, I don't care. Like anyone figure out how timeouts work. Timeouts, clock management, not his strong suit. Coming up with a fancy offensive play, his strong suit. Let him do that. He's good at that. Really good.
It's like Belichick over here. Don't get involved with the offense. You're a defensive guru. Just focus on that. Just stay out of the offense. And you saw what happened when he got involved this year.
oh,
Patriots sucked this year. But next year with Bill O'Brien, it's going to get better. I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying there's going to be a huge improvement next year over this year offensively, now that Bill O'Brien's back.
Yep, and there are some coordinators who are better served to those roles. There are some guys who tried to be head coaches. Being a head coach is a different job. It's supposed to be being a CEO. Andy Reid likes to tinker, and he does give a lot of credit to Eric Bieniemy. But it's one of those things where Andy Reid has a lot of input in that too, because he does have a lot of ideas. A lot of his concepts go in there. Eric Bieniemy can execute and come up with his own concepts too, but Andy Reid will oversee. It's one of those things, because that is his area of expertise. That is where he excels. So he should play to his strengths. In the same way that Bill Belichick, like if you got a defensive coordinator, he can have a defensive coordinator, but he's Bill Belichick. So he'll oversee that and be like, yep, I like that. Okay, fine. Go ahead. No matter what, he's overseeing it. He'll be over there just taking a look at it. Even if he likes it, he's like, okay, great. Sounds good. Do that. Which is his job. That's what he's supposed to be doing. He's the CEO of this thing. But he has an area of expertise, and if he plays into that, usually it works better if he does the thing he's good at. So I don't know. I think this year, like I said, this game was a microcosm of the way this season has played out, where I just watched a lot of games where it's like, okay, like on paper, this is okay, but like this is bad. Like there's stretches like, I don't think this is actually very good. This is actually, you all kind of suck. You're all kind of terrible. And you just watch it play out. And I think this was the result. That's kind of the way I look at it. It's like this was the result of that kind of season playing out. Going forward, to your point, I think what's going to be interesting is I'd like to see what Kansas City does to reload, to take care of their business. Philadelphia, like I said, I have concerns where I don't think they were challenged sufficiently early in the season. I'll use the team here when they did win Super Bowl 45. That team probably shouldn't have been in that position, and they had to do it the longer way. I think they were 6th seed, so it wasn't like they cruised in. They managed to get the pieces together. Things coalesced in the right time, right place, right time, right opposition. They fought their way through it. That worked out for them very well, but they also had the right team. The following year, they were 15-1, and they were rolling through people, like scoring tons and tons and tons of points. The defense was garbage. It was garbage, Eric. Garbage.
Oh, now I understood you. I didn't understand what you were saying before.
Now you understand what I'm saying. Now you get what I'm saying.
Oh,
but like I was watching the whole year, I was like, oh shit. If they ever get into a dogfight, we're so screwed. And like a lot of the guys that I knew that were Packer fans, like, oh man, our team's going to a Super Bowl. I was like, if they get into a dogfight with anybody, we're fucked. we're so fucked because if they don't score like 35, we're dead. And then they run into the Giants, and they did not score 35 points, Dave. They did not. Didn't happen. That team offensively was way better than the previous year's team. But the previous year's team had to struggle a bit, had to go through the gauntlet, and managed to then be able to fight their way through it and get where they needed to go. And they beat a Steelers team who at least was legit in the Super Bowl. So it wasn't like there was no cakewalk. They had to kind of fight their way through all the different pieces. This Philadelphia team, we'll have to see how they rebound. I think taking the other angle of it, though, I think there are some Patrick Mahomes collectors / investors who are like, thank God. Oh, my God. Thank goodness. We almost died. It was hilarious.
But, and I'm going to upset Carlos, and he's going to fight me, and I'm going to let him win due to the deal that we have on the show. But Mahomes will never, no matter what he does, his entire career will ever be seen as the true GOAT as in quarterbacks, because when he went up against Brady in the Super Bowl, he lost, and that will be the final determination. So when he wins 5 more Super Bowls and they're like, he's the GOAT, he's the GOAT. No, because when he played the GOAT, he lost. And that will always be the argument.
I don't know if a 1 game sample size works on that one.
You know,
you know that Peyton Manning got beaten like a drum by Brady, and by the time it was done, it leveled out pretty good. Like the last couple of meetings they had, like Tom Brady has a losing record against the Manning dog at this point. Like,
I think the third brother has beat him.
Like he's beaten him like a drum. Like it's really embarrassing. Like he's even lost to Preston Manning. Preston Manning is a Canadian politician. He didn't even play football.
But
like, that's how bad it is.
Will never have the yardage Brady has, no matter how long he stays in the league, because he's a mobile quarterback, right? So he takes less throws, and he has less yardage at the end of the year. Brady can't run to save his life. Literally, to save his life, he cannot run away.
And Lord knows he can't catch a ball, because I showed that picture.
Right. So
him trying to do something athletic, it was embarrassing.
So he's never going to come near Brady's yardage numbers, because all Brady could do was throw.
Yep.
And he lost head-to-head with him. So he's never going to get that title, no matter what he does.
Yeah, and Jason here makes the correct point. Quarterbacks play the defense, not the other QBs. I understand Eric's point, but and that here's the thing: Eric is representing the narrative that people have, because they'll be like, so and so. It's like the quarterbacks literally don't play against each other. They literally they're on the bench while the other guy's doing his job, and then the other guy goes on the bench while he's doing his job. Go ahead. You were going to say something, Dave?
You have to look at, and I know, first off, like the channel, like the broadcast tonight, thumbs up. And you have to look, and again, I know it's Tampa versus Kansas City. You have to look at it just in that regard, because you had to play with who you had to play with at that particular game. The O-line for KC was pretty much like the 49ers in the championship against the Eagles, quarterback-wise. For their offensive line. They were down, I think, 3 starters, and maybe a 4th went out during the game. So, and then you had, again, Mahomes with a gimpy ankle, gimpy leg, trying to run around against a 4th-rate O-line. And, again, you dealt the cards you have. Yeah, Brady got the one up, obviously, in that Super Bowl, but...
Yeah, and also in that I think it was in an AFC Championship as well. So to his credit, they did that. Although that one was that where I said Kansas City made a critical error. I can't really put that one on Mahomes at all, because he technically did his job. It's one of those things where that's the problem with the comparing the two players. Basically, is that if your team doesn't execute in a certain way, you could do almost everything right, but it's the thing where you get all the credit, and then you get a bunch of the blame, and it's like, well, you kind of did your job though. You did what you put your team in position A to do it, and then, the kicker misses the kick, or somebody muffs a punt, or something stupid happens. It's like the quarterback's sitting on the sidelines while all this is going on. He goes, "What the hell do you want me to do about it?" So I can't blame them for that. That's always been a weird. It's a narrative thing that they do with it, but it's always interesting the way that plays out. Doesn't mean affecting price on big items. I think the Eddie Murray 10 was over 40K during the game. Okay. Yeah, talking about the PWCC having an auction during Super Bowl Sunday. I did look to see if there's anything interesting. Not too much. I think they were smart. I think they held off some stuff until next week. But there were a couple of items that did sell tonight. Peyton owed Brady at the end, one of the biggest playoff comebacks ever in Brady's prime. That's true. Yeah. Towards the end, like it leveled out. Brady had a big lead at the beginning, and then it leveled out as the years went by. And Peyton was able to get his a little bit towards the end.
Oh, I think Peyton would be just as successful if he played for the Patriots during that time with Belichick and how things were done here in New England. I think Peyton would have been equally as successful.
Oh, I agree with that. Like Peyton is a very smart quarterback. Was a very smart. He was brilliant doing what he did, making adjustments and doing all that stuff. That was his thing. I think Bill Belichick would have loved to have worked with Peyton Manning on offense.
Oh, sure.
And come up with ideas and be like, hey, look at this and study the film. Like he would have loved that. That would have been fun for him.
He would have been equally as effective.
Yeah. Mahomes win MVP. He did indeed, Big Scott. Won't be 10s or even 9s. Bob Jackson going for it. Marino over Brady. I likes it.
Well, I mean, Marino went to one Super Bowl as like rookie year or sophomore year and lost and never sniffed getting close again.
As Ace Ventura has taught us, that is because the kicker let him down.
Well, that's
Dave?
true. Laces
out, man. Laces out. It ruined everything. Finkel.
Laces out. That's all I know.
No, Montana actively rooted against Brady warms my heart. Everyone roots against Tom Brady, really. Deep down in the core.
Why wouldn't he? He was going to take his GOAT status. Before Brady showed up, there wasn't even a discussion of who the greatest of all time was. And you pick a sport, you can always start arguing. All right, like basketball right now. Is it LeBron? Is it Jordan? I mean, people are having that discussion, right? Before Brady showed up, there was no discussion. It was like, all right, it's Montana. Everyone agree? Everyone agree? Okay, good. It's Montana.
I still agree it's Montana. I'm still Team Montana.
You can still be. What I'm saying, all I'm saying is
he didn't lose. He never lost a Super Bowl.
All I'm saying is
only losers lose Super Bowls.
Brady showed up. There was never a discussion.
Did you know that Tom Brady lost 3/4 as many Super Bowls as Joe Montana won? Did you know he lost to a backup quarterback? Nick Foles?
And let me tell you, around here,
did you know he lost to a third-string quarterback twice?
Nobody talks about the 6 wins. Every conversation you hear talking about past football games, it's the 3 losses. And this should have happened, and they should have played him, and why did they bench him? And Brady could have done this, and oh God, that's all anyone ever talks about.
He lost twice to Eli Manning, the other Manning brother. I think there's 3, but he's the other one.
And the kid played incredible in those games and made 2 of the most amazing throws, and wide receivers made amazing catches in Super Bowl history. I actually think the second loss, that throw was more impressive than the helmet catch, because that was just like piss luck. And that second loss, when he threw that and timed it absolutely perfect right on the sideline, right into the guy's arms for like 50 yards to set up the win. That was unbelievable.
Listen, I'll have you know that I can talk Tom Brady losses all day. Dave knows this. I can talk Tom Brady all day. But I'm going to read this comment. Jay here says, on the PWCC Weekly, I won the 1995 Hershey's Chromium Easter 1952 for $6. Lost the 95 Chromium Christmas, same at $15. Always interesting cards. Super Bowl helped me with the auction win. Jay, we're always with the obscure, interesting references. But for $6, I don't care, man. $6 sounds pretty good to me. That's with buyer's premium. It's pretty solid. It's not bad. So regardless, congratulations, Jay. They won one of those Super Bowls because the Seahawks were brain damaged. True. Look, I will never forgive the Seahawks. And by the way, just to be clear on this, and just to be 100% clear on this, I will never forgive the Seahawks for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, give the ball to fucking Marshawn Lynch. But if you weren't going to do that, The part that killed me, that was the year that they played the NFC Championship against the Packers. And the Packers were idiots. And they muffed a punt and did a bunch of dumb shit at the end. And I think they were up, I want to say they were up by 15. That was, Dave, you can mark that one down. I want to say it was a 2015 NFC Championship, if I'm remembering the exact year and time correctly. That was the last time I got legitimately angry at the end of a game. That was the last time. Because of that, after that, I literally banged my head on the table just out of anger and frustration at what I just watched. And after that, I no longer had it in me to be that angry at it. That was the last time. Because it was so stupid. Literally, the Packers should have gone to the Super Bowl. Maybe they lose. I've always said this, like, maybe they lose anyway. Maybe they go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Patriots. So be it. But they should have literally won that game. And then the Seahawks have the audacity to win in that stupid game, in that stupid way, and then lose to the fucking Patriots because they wouldn't give Marshawn Lynch the ball. That's what infuriated me even more. At least could you finish the job then win?
Mm-hmm.
Idiots.
I mean, I'm not upset about it, but you're 100% right. But I'm glad it turned out the other way. But you're 100% right.
So stupid. I think the new Manning entering college. Yes, the young. Is it Arch Manning? It's not Archie Manning, but it's like play off the name, right? It's like just Arch or something like that. Whatever.
He's taking my nickname.
Terrible. I think the new Manning entering college, first NIL than his uncles, making more in his first NIL than his uncles. I think that's true. Everyone at home says they're giving to Lynch. Play happens. Yep. Contract. Yep. I agree with you, Big Scott. Could be heard across the nation. Probably. Biggest United moment in U.S. history since Hands Across America. Wow. Bob Jackson invoking it. Wow. Dang.
Even in New England, we said that, but then we went, thank God.
It's like, great job, guys. Let Russ cook. Yeah. Fucker. And that was the end of Let Russ Cook. And here we are to this very day. Dave, to this very day. Wow. Just wow. Jay, Patriots fan for life. Despite that bias, Eli sadly is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Well, based on those 2 Super Bowl victories, he probably should be, yes.
I think he should be, yeah.
Number of Super Bowl wins and overall record, he's better than all modern QBs except Mahomes. Ooh, that's a bold take. I like that. I like that, Jay. That's an interesting one. So Eli Manning, better than the modern QBs except Mahomes. Wow. We're throwing the Joe Burrow under the train already. I like Joe Burrow. I'll be honest, out of the current guys, I like Joe Burrow. I like the swagger. The swagger thing is fun for me. I don't mind it as much as some people. I enjoy it for obvious reasons. Look, I appreciate it. Now you still have to back it up. Like at the end of the day, you got to back it up. But they've played well and they have had some success. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going with a low bar here. Mm-hmm. The fact that they've gotten to 2 AFC championships and gotten to a Super Bowl in his young career, that feels impressive to me. It feels pretty good. So I don't know, Dave, for context, that feels good to me. Like it's impressive considering the context of the franchise we're talking about.
Well, yeah, look after Boomer Esiason left. I mean,
they've been heinous for years.
They took Carson Palmer and then he wanted to get out of there. And then he had
a couple of seasons where Carson Palmer was pretty good too. Like he was decent. He was decent.
But you had a litany of years that were horse shit. You were picking number 1, 2, or 3 every year. Big Daddy Wilkinson, Kajana Carter.
Eric, you were saying?
The redhead kid that was quarterback.
Andy Dalton. Was it the Red Rifle or the Red Rocket? The Red Rifle, something like that.
For a couple of years.
He was decent. Yeah, like he wasn't a bad quarterback. It's just hilarious. It was just like, Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
But you had to deal with Ocho Cinco at that time, and you know, I mean, the guy was a team killer.
I've seen worse, but he wasn't certainly helping. I agree with that. I love this. Not giving it to Lynch might be the dumbest moment I've seen in sports. Worse than the ball of Canseco's head. Bob Jackson is fired up about this, and I love it.
I would put it more towards the Michigan timeout.
Oh, that's a good one.
Final Four basketball.
I like this one. Worse than Patrick Stephon missing the empty net. Dang, he's going to deep cuts. I remember that one. I was like, come on, dude. It's empty net. Come on. So bad. Patrick Stephon was playing for the Stars at that time. Not good. No. Not good. Joby's awesome. Might be Stafford in the end. Well, at least then he would have a Super Bowl, so that'd be something.
Yeah.
But that's the point. That's the reason why I made the point earlier tonight, where I just said, like, again, with due respect to our friends who are Eagles fans, and we have a number of them. Andy, who's friend of the show, and of course our good friend Crypto Griff. Dealing with it. But like, if Philadelphia had won, that's not very interesting to me. If I don't have a rooting interest, I'm interested in narratives. I'm interested in the what comes out of this that we can think about or discuss or that plays into it. Kansas City winning at least gives a team that has put together a couple of championship wins within close proximity. Where does Mahomes' legacy go? Not necessarily now, it's not done, but he won the MVP this year, tacks on another Super Bowl, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 5 AFC championship appearances, starts building up a body of work. It's it's a nice little bit going in there. If Philadelphia wins, it's like we just kind of shrug our shoulders and move on to the next season. Like, what are we really like? At that point, I feel nothing. Not good, not bad, just meh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I alone in this, Dave? Like, am I out to lunch here? Like, I would just feel like a great, overwhelming meh.
No, you'd have the Philly fans excited, and that's probably about it.
Yeah, that's it.
There wouldn't be any. Oh wow, what transpires now? It's like no, you can have the sort of the cap of Jalen Hurts and at Alabama, sort of pushed out by Tua, goes to Oklahoma, does well there, but still looked as an afterthought. Mid-second round, late second round pick. Who knows if he's gonna Dougie Williams, Scott.
Nice.
Repping the old Redskins.
Yep, he's got it.
For the Philly fans out there.
Fair, valid.
You could have sort of like that's a feel good story, and then what? Who cares? I mean, it's good for Hurts and good for him to finally like sort of tell the naysayers to fuck off. I'm like, here I am, but in the end, what does that do for the rounds at the TV markets?
Yeah. Well, like, look, here Will's saying you're overthinking the narrative. It's like, no, I'm not. Without narrative, sports is nothing. If you don't have a direct rooting interest in the game, narrative is the only thing that makes it interesting. Like, otherwise you have to reach out to other things. Otherwise, it's got to be like, okay, so I bet money on the game. That's like, otherwise, then there's no point in watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't have a rooting interest and there's nothing else that's remotely interesting that you can't come up. Look, we had one game. Like I said, as much fun as I like making fun of Tom Brady, and I do. Lord knows I do. The game where they played against the Rams Super Bowl. As soon as the 2 conference championship games ended, and I knew it was going to be the Rams and the Patriots, my buddy and I chatted, and at the time he would do a Super Bowl party for all the Super Bowls. And when it was done, he was like, I'm not even bothering. I don't care who wins this game. I'm just genuinely not interested. We didn't even watch the game. I literally didn't watch 1 second of that Super Bowl. I refused to watch it. Like, I was like, no, I just don't care. If the Rams win, great. If the Patriots win, whatever. And it ended up being a really crap Super Bowl on top of everything else, because I was looking at it, this is going to be shit. Why would I waste my time watching this garbage? And it turned out to be an absolute Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. Sorry, that was the Julian Edelman MVP year. My apologies. That was the Julian Edelman MVP year. The year where Tom Brady was so shit that they couldn't even give it to the quarterback, and they always want to give it to the quarterback. So they had to give it to the guy who got popped for steroids that year. The guy whose personal trainer was Tom Brady's trainer too. That's how shit it was. They couldn't even give it to the quarterback. They had to, Edelman, you're the Super Bowl MVP, buddy. Here you go, bud. Wow, that's a great Super Bowl. I'm glad that happened. Without the narrative, it's not interesting. If you don't have the rooting interest, it's like the narrative is the only thing we have left. So at least when I'm watching this game, I'm like, okay, so what comes out of this? Who is the performer? Because that's part of the narrative, right? Who is the performer? Who stands out? When I watched Kansas City and I watched Bolton and I watched him, I thought that was a great performance by him. I thought he did a phenomenal job. I was extremely impressed. I thought that was great. The almost could have been fumble. I think that was a fun. If it hadn't turned out, if Kansas City hadn't been able to win, that would have been one of those missed opportunities. Mm-hmm. That's part of the narrative. That's the story of the game. The narrative is the story. So without the story, it's like, then what are we watching it for? Then what difference does the outcome make to us? I think sometimes folks forget that that's part of it too. It's like the '86 Masters, Jack Nicklaus winning the green jacket. He had won the Masters before. Why was that interesting? Because he was 46 years old.
Mm.
That's a narrative. He didn't need another major. It wouldn't have made any difference. If he did or he didn't win that one, what's the difference? The fact that he was at that advanced age, he was clearly past his prime. This was like potentially his last big hurrah, and he got it done. That's the story. And that made it special. And then they'll still talk about the '86 Masters all those years later, and that's part of the story, right? That's a narrative. That's literally a narrative thread. It does matter in sports. Like, it actually is a thing. Now, the networks overplayed a little bit. They try to stretch a narrative out of anything they can get their hands on. They do cheapen it, but it's real. It's part of the game. Just saved a few car burnings in Philly. Or did
Why? They were going to burn them if they won. You're definitely going to burn them if they lose.
This is the old Vancouver Canucks joke. When the Vancouver Canucks lost the Stanley Cup, and then they had the riots, and then they lost again, and they had the riots, and then my joke for many years is like, no matter who's in the Stanley Cup, it's like, so when do we tune into the Vancouver riots? Now they're rioting in honor of whoever wins the Stanley Cup.
Come on, just say it. Come on.
I don't recall. Was it the team that hit the first 3-pointer in NBA history?
Just say it. It won't kill you.
The Boston
It'll
Braves.
make me feel good.
Fine, the Boston Braves. The Boston Braves won the Stanley Cup. It was fantastic. It was sensational. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Babe Ruth was great in that series. Dave, do you remember Babe Ruth in that series? He was amazing. It's incredible. Sensational. Internet says so, so therefore it must be true. No hanky-panky, methinks. Mahomes is the first player to take home the Associated Press NFL MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same season this century. That's probably true. If we do this century, then probably that's true. We have to stretch that one a little bit, but all right, fine. I'll give it to you.
My mom has been giving me statistics and trivia that she's been reading, leading up to the game. And she told me before the game that no one that has ever won the league MVP has gone on that year to win a Super Bowl title. This is the first time.
Is that really?
That's what she told me.
I guess that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of it.
She's listening, so you better not say anything you shouldn't.
Well, in fairness, she dislikes you more than any of us. She likes us.
That's true.
That seems legit, though. Like, I'm just trying to think here because I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think that probably sounds right to me. Like, I'm just trying to think of who would win the MVP. And a lot of times, like, the team would have a great season and everything, but I'm just trying to think of who would have won an MVP and maybe won a Super Bowl around the same time. And that's probably true, to be honest, because Peyton won, I want to say 5 MVPs, right? And I don't think he ever won the Super Bowl in any of those years. Rodgers has won 4, and he definitely didn't win a Super Bowl during any of those years. And if Brady didn't win a Super Bowl in any of the years that he won an MVP, then that's like already that's years and years and years of, like, I already racked up like 12. We're talking 12 MVPs right there. That's 12 of the most recent MVPs, a lot of them. And the other ones don't match. Brady would probably be the most likely candidate. With 10 Super Bowl appearances, he is the most likely candidate to have won. Now, I think probably what prevented it from occurring would have been the 07.
Yep.
Because the 07, he won the MVP for sure. I'm confident in that. And that's the year that the third best Manning brother bested him. And as a result, he did not win the Super Bowl to go along with it. That would probably have been his best shot. If I was going to guess. Because the early years, he wasn't winning MVPs for crap. He won 3 Super Bowls where he had no shot. Like, he was a game manager. He wasn't winning MVP for shit. So it would have had to be latter career would have been where he had that.
Yep.
And I don't think he was winning. And by that point, he wasn't winning MVPs anymore. So I think that jives. I think Mama Wade's got this one. I think she's right.
That's the information she was handing down.
I'm talking it through, but I think that jives. Unless you got anything, Dave. Like, I'm just thinking it out loud, and I think that makes sense.
Even if you think of something, Dave, just let her have this.
Yeah, for this century, yes. The only one I can even think of, like, before 2000 would be Steve Young. That's the only one that, like, comes to my mind.
Wow, we got to go to like 94 for that one, don't we? Like right about thereabouts? Yeah.
So that would be it. And again, 2000 on, I think Nobody.
Yeah.
There's always some oddball one. Like
So wait, did we miss the Trent Dilfer 2000 MVP? No, we didn't get that one. Damn, so close.
I gotta look for his the one he replaced in the lineup. I've got that jersey somewhere. That's an obscure jersey that I don't think many folks would have. I don't know where it's at though. So at some point, if you see a Baltimore jersey, that's 99.9% what I'd be wearing.
Nice, fantastic. I like it. All right, let me scan through a couple of these here. I like that they were talking about. I didn't watch the commercials this time around. Eric, did you watch the commercials? Was there anything decent, or are you in agreement? They're lame.
Most of them sucked.
Okay.
There was a couple that I liked, but the one that I really liked, and again, shouldn't shock you, a little prejudice, but I did think it was funny, was the one with Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Wow.
And they had a bunch of other, like Billy Idol was in it, and Joan Jett, and there was a couple of rock stars, and the whole point was when people are in work and someone does something successfully and like, you're a rock star, and Paul Stanley comes in and goes, no, you're not a rock star, I'm a rock star. And then Billy Idol comes in with like a chainsaw and he's like, yeah, I'm a rock star, I've been doing. Anyways, I'm not really describing it that great, but that one entertained me.
Okay.
But I don't even remember what the product was because I didn't care.
All right, that tells you the commercial is fantastic. Our ad agency where I worked told me that it costs so much for Super Bowl commercials. The company only want to go very broad appeal commercials. Smaller companies take some chance. No, that's true. That's 100% true.
$1 million for 30 seconds.
It's so expensive. Philly Joe had this comment from earlier. Not a problem. This is fun for me. Like I mentioned to Dave, like the post Super Bowl thing. It's literally us just going straight to the BSing.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little pretenses in the cards. Like it's like no, we just watch the game or listen to the game, as the case may be. And like I had some thoughts coming off of it. It's like no, let's just sit here and chat. And like I invited a couple of folks on. If they can come on, that's great. If they can't, we'll just sit here and chill for a little bit, and then we'll take off. And then, but it was fun. Like I enjoy the discussing it after the fact. Movie trailers were kind of good though. Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear it. I saw the door open earlier and a folding chair peeking the door. Hey, could have happened. Maybe. The Flash looked really awesome. Honestly, shocked me. All right.
Yeah, it looked incredible.
Cool.
With Michael Keaton in it. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, nice. Okay. So Jeff was asking about Brady. I don't recall that one. So let's take a look here. Was the Air Jordan movie real? Kind of looked like a spoof. If it's real, it looks good. Okay.
It's real.
Yep. Kurt Warner was off. Won the MVP in the 90 season, Super Bowl in 2000. Yep. Brady won an MVP in Super Bowl in 2017. Did he win the MVP in 2017?
I don't know any of these actually facts or not, but if we're just gonna say my mother was right and leave it at that.
Well, I think also somebody in the chat also had the same comment, so that's why I'm wondering. Like,
yeah,
because don't forget, you can have the timing. Like, the problem with the NFL is sometimes seasons are weird. Like you say that they won a certain year, and then the Super Bowl is technically in the other year, so you gotta make sure you time your thing correctly. That's the only thing that's a little bit off sometimes. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'll take a look and see if I can find it in Pro Football.
There was one radio commercial that I cackled at. It was something I think for Geico, and it was to the effect of, "Well, you're watching the game, you're thinking you can do better than your team's quarterback, but remember, you get lightheaded when you get up too quickly from the couch."
Yeah, that's right.
And when I heard that, I'm like, that needs to be an actual like filmed commercial, because I'm like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yell at the TV and then, oh man, I gotta sit back down. Holy cow, that's a lot of blood rush.
I love, Dave, you and I briefly talked earlier about like going to a sports bar. I made comments like that at sports bars where these guys are like, how in the world, it doesn't even matter the sport, how in the world could that guy have missed that? I could have made that. And it's like, you were out of breath coming back from the bathroom. You couldn't have done that to save your life. Shut up.
I hope at some point Geico makes that into a actual commercial for TV, because I'll probably laugh every time.
Oh, absolutely.
because it's 100% true. Because you have somebody looking like George Wendt over there in the corner saying it's like, motherfucker, you got winded opening the bag of chips. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Settle down.
I mean, we can make fun of Tom Brady not being able to catch that ball in the Super Bowl.
And I will, goddammit. And I will.
And because, I mean, he is getting paid to do that, and he's a professional athlete, and that's his job, and he looked horrible at it. But how many of us could have made that catch? You know, I can't run anymore. My hip doesn't allow me to, so I can't say that I can do it.
God damn it, I'll make that catch. I'll make that fucking catch.
So,
Old stone hands.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even talking about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can sit at home and say, I can do that. I can do that. And it's like, no, you can't. Because if you could, you'd be on TV.
He was by himself on that one. He was by himself.
Was
like, there was nobody. When I took the screenshot of that picture, there was nobody hassling him. All he had to do was just.
Absolutely disgusting. That he's a professional athlete. That's his job. They practice that in practice. It's disgusting. But to say that the 300-pound guy at the bar who gets out of breath opening chips, I could have made that catch. No, you couldn't.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to make sure I got this timing right here. So you were saying 2017. Was that the game against the Eagles, though?
That's what I thought.
Because I got here Super Bowl 52. That was in the year 2018, which would have been the 2017 season, which they lost.
Mm-hmm. I thought Foles was the MVP of that one.
Yeah, no, but in this case it was NFL MVP. It was NFL MVP and Super Bowl.
MVP has never won the Super Bowl until today.
Yeah, because when I'm looking at it, they beat the Rams, but they beat the Rams. That was 2018, which was in the year 2019. That was the garbage one. That was the 13-3 piece of crap. Why are we wasting our time? So if he won the regular season MVP, the 2017 season, that's the year they lost to the Eagles. So they didn't win the Super Bowl. So that's why I say, like, the timing. Yeah. The problem is the year thing. The year thing is what throws it off, because if you look at the calendar year and then the actual year they played the game, that's two different things.
Yeah, the 85 Bears won in 1986.
Yeah.
85 Bears. When did they win?
I wish they would just put the hyphen.
Yeah.
Like, just call it 85-86. Hockey has got this figured out. Like, it's straightforward. It spans two seasons. Just call it 85-86, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, okay, I know what season to start. I know what season to finish.
The only one that could be just 1 year.
Yeah. They at least finished it in that year. Saw the commercial Eric was talking about. It was all right. Kind of sounded the rock stars inside are as old as hell. They are. Yep.
They are.
But he won the MVP after he won the Super Bowl.
That's what you just said.
Yeah. So that's the one. Like I said, I don't think the timing matches up on that one. Kurt Warner seems to be the last one to do what Mahomes did this year. No, I'll double check, but it might be the disconnect of the year.
My mother said no, so she shut up.
There you go. I had a friend in high school that fainted if he stood up too fast. Probably. Eric could have made the first NBA three-pointer in history if he sent him back in time machine. True. And he never shut up about it. True.
Damn right. I'd be talking about it every 10 minutes. I'm like, hey, do you know what I did?
I was making enchiladas. Did Gronk make the kick? I heard about this, and I felt like I watched it, but I was only like I said, I was doing the two screen thing. Like, I literally had the game, like, in my office. I have a screen here, and I have a screen here. So I'm watching YouTube, doing some stuff, and I'm playing. The problem is the Gronk thing is during, like, halftime. It's like at the end of halftime, it's doing like a commercial break thing. It's literally like a commercial. So it's like, I saw the fireworks, and I saw doing the whole thing, but I was like, so did he actually make it, or he didn't make it? And it was like a 15-yard kick.
Yeah. So
I was like,
number one, there is nothing that is going to make me believe that was live. Nothing is going to make me believe that. Two, it actually looked like it went through the uprights. And then they're like, well, it's like the overlay was so quick. If this was a live event, well, Gronk didn't make it, but you're all going to still win. And I'm like, this was set up and done months ago. For the record, though, like, just to be clear on this, it was a 15-yard kick. Yeah. Here's my problem with this. Dave, help me. Dave, when I was in high school, I was about 80 pounds overweight, approximately 80 pounds overweight, comfortably. I was making 25-yard fucking field goal kicks in PE.
Yeah.
It's not that fucking hard.
No.
And to be fair, they're line drive kicks. The goal is just to get it over the upright. But as long as it's lined up, you can get it over the 25 yards is short enough that you can do a line drive over the upright. Just get it over the line. That's it. I was making that shit at like a 95% clip.
Right.
Gronk is a professional. Unlike Tom Brady, who's not a professional athlete in the slightest.
Gronk
Gronk is a professional athlete.
Is the 300-pound guys who are trying to kill you and you only weigh 170. When you're just sitting there like Gronk did tonight, supposedly.
Yeah. But that's why this comparison is valid. There's nobody tackling
coming at us.
Yes.
There's nobody coming at it. I would like to think, even with my hip, I can hit a 15-yarder with no one coming at me.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, it's
right.
like.
So I think the whole thing is BS, and there is no way that was live. This was set up and done months ago, and they just hit play. It's total BS.
There you go. I'm just reading here. Tom Brady was open because Silly said it dare you. They were correct. Giselle shut at the drop and didn't say count. We can't be expected to catch and throw a ball. I still think number 12 was the GOAT. Settle down, Jay. I appreciate you, but settle down. All right. TV Incognito is trying to. I like that he included in the brackets, but I'm not telling her that. Wise move. Wise move.
No.
Leave it
No.
be. Leave it be.
No, I won't accept this. Mm-hmm. And if you want to continue to come on into the chat and call my mother a liar, you won't be welcome here anymore. Even
I might have to give Eric a wrench for this. I might have to give Eric a wrench. You'll have to handle this business.
She is a liar. Lies to me on a regular basis about many, many things. Like she likes me, etc. If you're gonna come on here and call my mother a liar, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. I'll just say.
Yeah. So I'm in the Bob Jackson camp in all honesty. Not bathroom break necessarily, but the halftime thing I ignored for the most part. I did scan over a little bit. I think Rihanna had like a platform kind of thing going on, which I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't really care that much. I scanned in a little bit, just look over. I was like, okay, fair enough. Hey, good on you. Obviously, you put a lot of effort into it, so good on you. And I think she's like, and I didn't know this, but apparently she's like super pregnant. So like she did the thing anyway. So I was like, hey, good on you. Hey, good on you.
My wife, no, I don't know because I don't pay attention to this crap. My wife says that she had the baby recently. And
okay.
So she's still recovering from having a child.
By the way, good for her for doing it anyway.
But she's a liar too.
Wow.
So she tells me, I love you, better for worse, stay with you forever. Oh, she's totally lying. No, how can anyone love me? Come on, that's stupid.
That's the most truthful statement you've ever made. Easily, by far, without question.
No, everyone in the chat can call her a liar. That's fine. She's crazy.
There you go. Your mom says, thank you for sticking up for me. There you go.
I love you, Mommy.
Eric forgot flag football and PE, clearly. Yep. Mr. Perfect could both throw and catch the same pass. That's right. That's a real goat. Getting Korean cardboard at school. School's not a session, but I must desk warm. Just finished watching the Super Bowl highlights, sorting Japanese non-sport Menko. There you go. Good on you, sir. Good on you. You have permission to go kick his ass, Kathy. Might be able to get some chatters to help. True. We do like lawsuits in this hobby. I enjoyed the show. Yep, absolutely. Kathy doesn't lie. She's confused. Like when she doesn't tell you about being dropped on the front step of the basket.
What?
That's misremembering, but yes.
What?
Oh, wow. Okay. Rihanna's pregnant and announced the Super Bowl. Second child on board. Well, there you go.
Now I told you that she lies. So.
Hey, man, it is what it is. What are you going to do? It's a chick says, game user player warn. Yes. Important questions deserve clear and concise answers, Dave. Clear and concise answers.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Now, Dave, let me ask you this question. We'll bring it into the realm of a little bit. Like I said, I think we've covered a good chunk of the game here because at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was. I came in with kind of low expectations. So for me, it was fine. I think it was fine. I would have liked to have won, but the tears of Philadelphia do amuse me. I would love, though, to see live coverage. This is where Crypto Griff could be useful for once. Live coverage. I want live coverage of the burning ruins. Why can't I have live coverage of the burning ruins, Dave? Is that too much to ask? I don't think that's too much.
No, not at all.
This is where Ed lets us down. Very disappointing. As I drink my Kansas City mug.
He could have used his YouTube Hall of Fame clout
I know.
walked around town showing patch.
This
With
was
his
an
GoPro.
opportunity, man. It's shameful. But so I did want to say one thing. I do want to kind of also, I did mention separately, but I also do want to thank Dave for doing me a solid. I may have a fun acquisition that will be coming in, and we were able to figure that out. So thank you, Dave. I just want to thank you again. And I'll share that when the time comes, and you guys will understand a little bit more. But I added to my dentist PC. As Eric knows, I am very passionately working on that. I came across something interesting, and it happened to come across again. So I was like, all right. I did a little vetting, a little verification as well. So it's good to know people who know people.
Dave, did you ever open up your acquisition?
I did not open up my acquisition. I will open up my acquisition tomorrow, though.
Oh,
We'll have it on video, and then I'll probably upload it either tomorrow or Tuesday.
well, that's cool. But I
That's
just
fair.
wanted to, I hope she likes it.
Excellent.
She
I like it.
had her glasses broken in the second game on Saturday.
Oh boy.
She was a bit flustered, but then the third game, she played by far her best game of the year. So it took a lot of cajoling and soothing out of my part, which is shocking, I know, but yeah, I told her all year, when you go up for the rebound, you need to put your hands up, your arms up. This not only allows you to get the ball quicker, but protects your face because you're wearing glasses from other people's arms and such. Didn't listen. Luckily, we had some the Hanson brothers hockey tape there, the white tape, and
Nice.
I had to finagle it. I said, hey, stop sniveling, stop crying. Hold these in place so when you put them on, it's going to be as good of a fit as possible. Because, of course, the glasses bend, it didn't break there. It was like half an inch into the side frame part. And
Yeah. You got to get some rec specs, baby.
I told her that at the beginning of the year. I got a buddy that graduated 2 years after me, who was about 6'8", and had them. I said, you'll look like a goofus, but you won't ever have to worry about your glasses on the court or on the field or anywhere. They'll just be something not to worry about. And that's one thing. When you're out there, you don't want to worry about your glasses flying out. That's for fucking sure. So I think she's
the way to go.
I said, I don't like to tell you this, but I do. I was right again. So listen to me. I know kids your age don't like to listen to their parents, but this seems to be what we call in the business a hashtag reoccurring theme. So, and she's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fair, Dave. Fair. Jay here says, the city of Philly weeping now by the Rocky statue. They should be.
They probably melted it down already in the hot.
Like I said, I want coverage of the burning ruins.
Oh, they're totally setting shit on fire. There's
That's
no
all
question.
I want.
No question.
Baz here is giving you a new moniker. Now you're Mennonite, Dave. It's like, I don't know. It's close. It's in the right area. Is that American beard you're wearing? If you know, you know. Did you see the Ben? So this one was a good one. Bob Jackson says, did you see the Ben Rookie Cup year dual patch auto with Medano in the cup that is coming out soon? Yes. I did look at the checklist for the cup, and I saw this, and my first thought was, this card already exists. Are you reprinting it? They did a 2009, 2010, Ben's rookie year, dual signature patches with Medano. Cool. That card literally exists.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen it. It's a real thing. Are you reprinting it? Did you buy it back? Like, I was perplexed, Dave. Like, I'm sitting there like, it's the same year. It's the same subset. It's at numbered to 35, the same as the original.
Mm-hmm.
I literally know people who own this card. So, what is this? So I'm looking at the checklist. I'm like, what is this? No, seriously, what is it? I don't know. I don't know what it is. So yes, I did see it, and I'm perplexed. I kind of want more information, but right now I don't have any. All I have is a checklist item that confuses me. That's what I've got. I had to wear Chris Sabo rec specs after I broke my glasses sliding to third, tagging the face, and before I got contacts. Fair. Got to teach you to go food. Rodman Barkley. Start elbowing.
Believe me, you can only talk so long before you get tired of talking. Hey, do this. Hey, do this. Hey, do this.
Dave, I have been a coach since I was 18 years old. I've coached club soccer. I have coached high school soccer, high school track, high school cross country, middle school cross country. I have coached hundreds, if not a couple thousand kids. The toughest coaching job I ever had is when I coached my daughter's 8th grade cross country team. Coaching your own kid is a wonderful experience.
And she's listened. It's just getting out of bad habits. That's for softball. She'll put her foot over the front of the plate. She'll like try to swing. I'm like, you got hit twice.
That was Big Scott. Well played, sir. Well played. Beautifully. Tip of the virtual cap. That's what I would have said. Oh, man. Go ahead, Dave. Finish your thought, and then I'll give you a Carlos Sr. story that kind of counteracts that. But please, finish your thought.
But she's, I say muscle memory is going to help. If you keep doing the same shit wrong all the time, that's you're going to be doing. You can't try to shot put the shot when you're shooting the ball. I said, form the elbow, L in the elbow. She does that. She makes 4 or 5 in a row. And then she'll go back to the shot put. I'm like, okay, see, here's where you are not listening. Keep doing the same thing. Shoot everywhere. And she does well. And then it's just crunch time in the game. And then the fucking nerves for all of them. Just, again, if you put yourself through the torture of watching some of those videos I put up, they'll have moments, but then all of a sudden just fucking, it's like you're in front of 100 people and they're all cheering. And for them, that's a lot. And you're like, oh shit, now what? Don't worry about everything else. Worry about what you've been taught. And I've told her that over and over and over again. But that last game Sunday, it was not great offensively. Of course, another loss for him, but it seemed like everybody started fighting a little more for the ball, a little more hustle. Her help defense was fucking great all 3 games. Just passing, communicating. She was loud, calling out plays, telling people from the bench, yelling. I'm like, you've got half of me in you. You should fucking be loud. There's not a reason like you should be meek, mild, and just like chill on the sideline. This is where you can yell. And you're all fucking like 6th, 7th grade girls. You fucking yell and gossip all the time. Why on the court are you fucking mutes? Let's pick up the pace. Let's fucking pick up the dialogue. You will do better if you guys are talking to each other and yelling it out. Not stack. We're running stack. No, fucking yell it. You've got a gym. It's going to echo. You can do that.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Fuck that.
Yell.
Well, I'll go out there and I'll walk around the court and I'll just keep dabbing the whole fucking game. You want to talk about embarrassment? I don't give a fuck. I've told her that. I'll say that.
Clearly, Dave. Clearly, like, maybe we should send your daughter a YouTube channel. This will be made abundantly clear. I think we have video evidence of this.
No one is arguing about the fucks you give, Dave.
No, not at all. We're all universally in agreement on this matter.
Yes.
The controversy is ended. The controversy is over.
Yes, the number is 0. You do not have to argue this point.
I just think it's fun listening to you guys talk about this. I played 6 years of Little League Baseball. Carlos Sr. was assistant coach 1 year. Carlos Sr. subscribes to the hashtag no effort team. Carlos Sr. didn't do shit. As far as teaching or coaching, he doesn't do shit. But here's the thing. To be fair, Carlos Sr. is actually very good at showing certain specific things if he so desires, but you have to then request it of him. If you request it of him, he will provide this information. Now, he's actually really, when we come to baseball, he never played baseball, so to speak. Turns out, though, he's actually very good naturally at being incredibly efficient at throwing the ball, hitting his targets, and he was actually quite good at. So when we went to the coach's game, first at bat, he almost jacks the ball out of the yard, and then he's in the outfield just making plays like it's nothing. But he never played organized baseball in his life. But like it makes sense to him. Like he's like, no, you catch the ball and then throw the ball, and then what do? You finish where you start, and then the ball goes where it's supposed to go. That's basically what I followed, and I had no problem with accuracy. Accuracy was one thing that I didn't have the strongest throwing arm, but I could hit my target. And that was basically what I would do to make it work. So it worked out.
In Colombia, you either play baseball or you produce cocaine. Those are your only two options.
And he was good at one of those things. The point is that, and it wasn't baseball. The point is the point is that regardless, the point was that when it came to the coaching thing, he was like, so what do we need to do? It's like, well, lineup card. And he goes, can you do that? I said, yes, I can. It's like, what are you doing? I'm making myself clean up. So I coached that fucking team. That's how we did it. I coached the fucking team. I set the lineup. I put people in and out, and he nodded approval when the time was right. A good man, high-end manager for that. That's what he did. So I just laugh because of my experience. Like I had no problem playing baseball. I could do it anyway, but it was just fun. He was like, when it was time for him to coach, like he didn't do shit. Oh, see, a wise man that uses energy efficiently. Yes. You guys should be taking notes. Like this is efficient use of your time.
A good manager knows how to delegate.
Yeah, but that's all he did. That's all he did. He cares so much he threatened to dab. That's right. Dave's username in the XFL is the fucks I give. That'd be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
Carlosino is a closet advisor, not a coach or manager. Barely. He was good at throwing 8 balls. He was good at high ball is what he was good at. That was his game. Yeah.
Back of a drug mule.
That would probably have been an improvement over what a lot of the options he had for him. Listen, all I got to say is he spent a lot of time in Indiana. I'm just letting you know. Back in the day, he spent a lot of time in Indiana. That was his first exposure to North America. Just letting you know. Why Indiana? Somebody over there's got to know. I can't answer for that. But he knows a lot about Indiana. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's one of those things where I'll say it just as later on down the road, it's like, why fucking Indiana? Exactly. I just want you to ask the question. I don't have an answer for you. I can't tell you. I don't know. The world may never know. But
the world may never know how.
The world may never know, but like I'm just telling you, he has an incredible amount of specific local information about Indiana. A lot. It's a little frightening. A lot about Indiana in the 70s. That's all I can tell you. A lot about Indiana in the 70s. Moving on. Gary, Indiana is considered the drug capital of the USA. Listen, man, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. All I know is it's a lot of Indiana in the 70s. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you.
Oh, boy.
That's all I got. I don't question it. Back in the day, he got his gas pumped at the cartel gas station. You don't ask these questions. When he went to Panama the last time, the first thing he did when he came back, big smile on his face. I'm immediately suspicious. So I ask, why are you so happy? His first words out of his mouth, he goes, I did it. And I go, what did you do? I outlived the ball. I outlived all my enemies. I checked. I bet you did. I bet. He went to their graves. He went and made sure there were bodies there. He checked. First thing he does when he goes to Panama after years away, he goes and makes sure all his enemies are dead, and he goes and makes sure they're all buried. As you do. Dave, take fucking notes. This is how you do it. It's like you guys talk about, YouTube. You guys talk about being OGs in YouTube. This is how an OG does it at the end. You fucking check on your enemies. You make sure they're dead. Doesn't matter how much time goes by. You check. You make sure. You make sure they're buried behind a ranch somewhere, allegedly.
Ranch in Texas.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. You do whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do. You check. You make sure. And if it's cool, good. Check it off your list.
Uh,
I did let him know though. I didn't want him to feel bad. I said, "Don't worry, you've still got time. You can still make new enemies." But the point is, for the enemies he had, he checked them off the list, so that there's fine. He was very proud of himself. It was good. It was a good day for him. Good day for him.
in celebration, burn 2020 tops of enemy's demise.
Love it. Fantastic. Beautiful. Bon Kittle 2. There you go. Yep, he found all the graves and saw they had all died in the 70s. No, he was still in Panama in the 70s. It was after. But he checked.
They died in their 70s.
Not quite. No, not by that point. The last time he was in Panama was maybe about, I want to say about 15 years ago. They would have been probably in their 50s. 50s is probably more correct. But yes.
That's old to be in Panama, because usually shot dead somewhere by 42.
Oh, not if you're my side of the family. Jorge Alcazar, my grandfather on my dad's side. He lived into his 60s, into his 70s, but he had cancer for 20 years, and he's just too stubborn to die. So, and he also had his own enemies. He also had 13 children, legitimate and illegitimate, that we're aware of.
That we're aware of.
He lived a full life. Yes, he lived a full life. Long walks and just shallow graves instead of short walks and deep graves. Facts.
Dave, how many kids do you have that you're aware of?
How many are that you're not aware of?
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with not being aware of them. You say 0 now. But no, but that was the thing. It was like it was legitimate and illegitimate that he was aware of. Is that my Carlos Senior was actually he basically was friends with a lot of the members of the extended family. So no, there was a lot of illegitimate kids in the family. So when he would go back to Panama, it was like a party. It was basically, that's why I say I never go back to Panama. I was like, I'm probably related to half the country at this point. Like if we just do the math, we don't have to work that hard. It's like, oh, yeah. And then you would have had kids, and they could, oh shit, never mind. Staying out of there. Thank you.
Your grandfather's biggest enemy was his wife, your grandmother. She was going to kill him.
One of the wives, probably. Yeah, Hanky Handkerchief and the Odd Bloody Nose. There you go. Who's your favorite fig? So what's your favorite figure? That's a tough one, Dave. You got a lot of figures, man. Do you have an inkling, a favorite?
I think what I said the other day was the Brody Lee one.
Okay.
Technically behind me.
Yep. Now, question for the favorite. There are some of the characters who will have multiple iterations. So is it a favorite of a specific iteration, or do they just have one?
It's probably Macho Man. Again,
Right.
That's a guy that I liked a lot as a kid, and WWF has made more of probably than any of the other guys I really liked as a kid.
Okay.
There's not a lot of Mr. Perfect ones. There's not a lot of Rick Rude. They don't obviously put a lot of time into those guys because, again, they died early on and from drugs more so than, oh, well, Macho Man had a car accident. Well, no, it was a heart attack that led to the car accident. So
Yes.
it's easy to sort of gloss over that. And but yeah, anything Macho Man, and then Cody Rhodes. So I've got obviously the
Right. Got the Stardust. Yep.
So, Dave, we literally have like 100 of these things kicking around. We bought a storage unit, no, 2 storage units of this guy that was a small-time wrestling promoter in the area here and was just a wrestling nut. Like he was well known around as being like the ultimate wrestling nut in the area. Bought 2 full-size storage units after his passing off his dad, and we pulled out hundreds of figures. A lot of them were autographed. Tons and tons of wrestling memorabilia. We've sold a bunch of it in the last few months, but I can tell you, I don't want to come across as like I'm advertising here or anything, but I can tell you later what eBay site to look at for our store, and there might be stuff there that you're interested in. I don't know. And we start the bids off really cheap. We're just trying to move the stuff.
Or we can make a deal and make it off eBay.
It's not my stuff, but but we can always try to help you out somehow.
Talk to a guy about a thing. No names.
Talk to a guy about a thing.
No names. Yes.
But I got a whole room at work with like 100 of those figures just lining the walls that I got to get rid of.
As beside the room he has with all the pictures of Marcel.
No, all those are here.
Interesting.
I keep all those here.
Now, kind of in that vein, Dave, though, Macho Man. Macho Man has had a long run of figures, though. Obviously, you got the figures like that. Look, I was always partial to the LJN. I love the old LJN. I thought those were fun. And WCW did have a series of ones that were not exactly like the LJN, but similar. They had like the big rubber guys, and they had WCW. I actually had the Macho Man from WCW on that one back in the day. But it was basically like a rubber LJN, similar LJN figure, but it was him obviously as WCW Macho Man with the tassels and the black and white and all that stuff. But there's a lot of those. Like I think the classic LJN Macho Man honestly is a fun one. Those tiny little Kenner figures are stupid. Like they actually look they're fine, but they're kind of ugly. I never really liked those.
As I said, I've got Kevin Steen, and I don't mind them because again, that was like the childhood stuff that was popular when I those. Which again, they're fun to if you're a kid and you're 7, 8 years old and you're banging them around and somebody could do like the arm smash or you twist the body and they can do a clothesline or something. I see what Honky Tonk had when we stopped at Walmart on the way back from those games. Honky Tonk and $1 Million Man, but they wanted $20 for them. I'm like, that's an elite price. Why wouldn't I want to buy an elite instead of a smaller figure that I really don't like the design on? It's not like it's true to form anyway, but it's more realistic than that thing. So yeah, that's something that National I do plan on hoping that there's some stuff there just to at least break up the monotony of all the cards and the PSA 10 Mahomes prisms and stuff like that, because it'd be nice to see just something different like that, because I don't remember last time I was at National or a card show. A lot of that stuff I bought some ECW stuff. Must have been 4 or 5 years ago at one of the shows. $5 a piece for the old ECW figures. I'm like, okay, still in their the packaging. So I'm like, Lance Storm, Shane Douglas, I think Taz maybe.
Okay.
And I want to say Tommy Dreamer. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take late 90s figures for $5 each. That's not a problem, whoever it is. Because again, the through the mail, I've said this before too. I don't necessarily trust a lot of folks shipping that stuff correctly, especially when it's still packaged and you get it. Okay, it's mint online, and then you get it and it's fucking creased in the plastic part or bent somewhere and fucking dinged up. I spent $25-$30 for a figure, and now it's not saying it's worthless, but if I want to display it, try to have it as mint as possible.
Seems fair. Sounds to me like one of the third-party graders needs to develop the case for the figures. It's the next logical step. It's obvious. I wanted to share this with you guys. We'll start winding her down shortly, so if you got any late comments, you can throw them in there. But thank you for those of you who decided to hang out. It's been fun. I love doing these little post-Super Bowl things, just kind of hanging out and chatting about whatever. I think Dave will appreciate this one. I actually picked this up on eBay today because apparently because the dealer had decided to, I guess Super Bowl Sunday, he decided to do like a discount in the store and dropped a bunch of the prices. Like, fine. I guess this is a price that I can live with. I can live with it. So I think you'll appreciate this one, Dave. It's got a pretty good group of guys here on this one. So this is from the 078 SP game used. So we got the authentic fabrics. So this is the patch version. So we got Martin Brodeur, your boy. We got Patrick Iliesh and Scott Stevens. And then the reason I got it, obviously, is the other side. We got Belfour, Medano, and Zuboff. So here's the thing. That's 5 Hall of Famers out of the 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's strong. And Iliesh was a good player, too.
Yeah.
Iliesh is technically the odd man out, but he was good. He was real good. And that's a pretty good group. So you can see the Stevens patch is pretty solid. And then the Medano patch is good, and the Zubov patch is good. So you got at least some decent patches. That was the important piece. And this is the I want to say this is the out of 5. It's pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, that's great.
So I saw it. To be blunt, I had no interest whatsoever in spending more money because I had bought a bunch of shit this past week, and then I was like, but it's a really good one. So yes. So I'll be on eBay selling shit if anyone needs me. If anyone needs me, I'll be selling a bunch of shit.
Make that money back.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys, and I'll spoil it, and I'll go over it later when I get the stuff in hand. I actually bought, because I've talked about that AEW Spectrum product. There was a lot that somebody had on eBay, 50 cards from it, different memorabilia, autographs, all kinds of stuff. And I was looking at it, I was like, at the price point, it's a little high. But I looked at it, I was like, but it's 50, because they wanted 500 for it. I was like, that's too high. And I was looking at it, I was like, but it works out to 500, works out to $10 a card. How much further down can I drop this? So I went and just made, I just made an offer. I just said, would you take 350? And they were like, yes. I was like, ooh. I kind of wish you had said no, but on the other hand, I'm getting 50 cards out of it. There's some that I'm going to take in, and there's a bunch that are like in the $20 or $40 range in there. So I was like, I'm pretty sure I can make my money back on this. We'll have to see. I'll have to parse it out and piecemeal it. But I was like, intriguing. So I might. So that shit might be going on eBay too. I might be putting together some lots, so I might have to. I didn't want to, but at the same time, I was like, but it's at $350, it's $7 per card.
Yeah.
Including the autographs and memorabilia and a bunch of shit. I was like, and a bunch of the low number parallels. And I was like, can I get $7 per card on average? Yes. I'm pretty sure I can if I piece it out. I was like, fine, I'll buy it. But that's, if you're going to look for lots, that's usually the kind of thing I'm looking for. I'm looking at a low per unit cost to try to be like, okay, you're not, there's a bunch that you're not going to be able to sell off or make any money on. There's a couple that you're going to keep for yourself. And there's a couple that'll probably do a lot of the heavy lifting, getting you most of the money back. So but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Thank you, Name. Appreciate it. Yep. A little Sunday night stream on the Super Bowl Sunday. Stick him out the knees like a gangster he is. Maybe.
I'd like to treat Name like a fish and throw him back.
Wow. 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 You're just a violent man there, Bougie Eric.
No,
like,
you know, he's all big time now, okay? You know, Upper Deck gave him like $6 million to create this indigenous hockey card set, right? Didn't tell anybody, Mr. Secret Pants, didn't want to tell his friends that he was involved in this.
And we literally knew about it forever ago. I literally talked about it on the channel.
All of a sudden, it comes out. He's on a world tour, right? He's over in Europe, you know, hitting all the major capitals of all the different countries, promoting this stuff. Have I gotten any cards yet? No.
Wow.
None.
So what we're talking about here is hashtag associated to influencer privilege. Not even influencer, Dave. Associated to influencer.
So, I mean, for $6 million, you would think he can throw some, you know, cards this way. I'm not looking for the autograph high. I'm just like, just give me some base. All right. Nope. Instead, he's over in Belgium. He's over in, you know, France. He's all over the place. Mr. World Traveler Big Shot. And he doesn't have time for the little people anymore.
You're just mad he didn't take you to Belgium.
So he can go screw.
Wow. Dave, it sounds to me like he's very, very upset that he didn't take him to Belgium.
I wanted to go to Belgium.
You know where he wanted to go? He wanted to go to the Netherlands to visit the Dutch.
I want to go to Belgium because that's where all the best cyclocross racing is.
Cyclocross isn't even real. Dave, help me. He's made up this stupid cyclocross bullshit sport that he's talking about. When you hear cyclocross, do you not think that the cyclists should be like fighting? They should literally be wielding crosses. Perhaps like metallic crosses.
Like a joust with crosses.
That's what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm saying, Dave.
It's like something in the back of like the New Testament of the Bible or something.
Or at the very least, in a dystopian film. Like this should be like a sport that they would have in a dystopian film where it's like, this is the blood sport for this era. The 24th century. Cyclocross. You will fight for your freedom.
That is not what happens.
I know, it's lame. That sounds cool. What you're talking about is garbage.
It is not lame. There were 2 wonderful races last weekend that were extremely exciting to watch.
And not a single person died.
And one guy,
Which is why yours is trash.
one guy's finger went from here to over here.
And I sent you a picture of Dijak from NXT who had the same thing, and he didn't whine about it like a pansy.
And he had to snap it back into place, and he finished the race, even though his finger was over here.
All I'm saying is not one single confirmed fatality.
None.
One. Not one.
Somewhere I do have Donovan Dijak, one of his figures too, because I watched him in Ring of Honor way back when, and enjoyed him there. So to see that, and just because I saw, I think on Instagram him posted that. Wow.
Yeah, the thing was fingers. Yeah, like his fingers. His finger was at a 90-degree angle. It's not supposed to go that way.
Like, there's a takeover today. Let me go back and watch that. And like, just at the end, he's just like that, and I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, and he didn't need a pansy bicycle, Eric. Eric thinks the capital of Belgium is waffle. Facts.
No,
facts. Let me guess, you are a coach. Any lame sport in history Eric coaches.
I was a mountain biking coach back in the 90s.
How do you mountain bike coach?
I want to hear
pedal. Pedal, fucker. Pedal faster.
You just yell pedal faster. I got paid to do it. I didn't care.
Change the gears.
Change harder.
And I just don't like the fact that name is like pushing my buttons. It's still early here. Yeah, I don't care that, you're in Belgium still enjoying.
Well, we have Korean Cardboard here. He's in a different time zone too. It's just respect.
No, go screw. And he's just pushing my buttons. Oh, it's early here still. Yeah, wow. Shut up.
Wow. Just wow. I don't know, Dave. I wish that Eric would show some.
Jet.
I wish that Dave.
Jet.
What kind of private jet?
The private.
Anyway, so Dave, what I was saying is that I wish Bougier would show some of the civility and decorum that we try to express around here.
Some people just can't do it.
It's uncouth. Is really what it is. It's disturbing.
Unbecoming of him.
It really is. What do you have to say for yourself, Bougier?
I don't know.
Could you try to be like a civilized person? Is this what Mrs. Wade taught you? Is this
no, this is what Mr. Wade taught me. My mother's that's why she's disgusted with me.
Everyone's disgusted with you.
Yeah.
Literally everyone.
I'm my father's son. There's no question about it.
Interesting. It's 2:47 p.m. Monday here. Fair, sir. Fair. Yeah, we're so nice to Eric, and this is how he acts. He has no shame. True, Bob. You state facts. State facts.
What up, Bob?
Well, with that said, on that bombshell, I think we'll start winding her down. And because I do enjoy round numbers, I'm going to kill about 90 seconds. Eric, abuse this for about 90 seconds so that I can be satisfied that we have a nice, lovely round number. That's all I want.
90 seconds? All right.
That's about 90 seconds. Yeah, that's about what
Bob said that I would be confused by the signed foam heads. And to be honest, well, I know who Al Snow is. And the foam heads that we have are in my office, and I want them out because they're creepy. And I always thought Al Snow.
Are they talking to you? Be honest.
I am being honest.
But are they talking to you? Is my question.
Well, I can never tell if something's talking to me or it's just the voices in my head talking to me.
Could be both.
It could be. I don't know which ones. What is that?
That's flesh-eating mothers.
I don't know what that is.
It's a
film. I assume it's mothers.
It's a DVD. It's a DVD.
Okay.
About flesh-eating mothers.
Does Bob Jackson star in that?
I can't say definitively yes or no.
So I have these 3 mannequin heads that Al Snow signed, and they sit in my office and stare at me. So I hope somebody buys them soon so I can get freaking rid of them because they creep me out.
The complete anthology through 2007. Very nice, sir. Very nice. Well played. Dave does have quite the extensive collection of items.
He doesn't have 3 Al Snow heads staring at him in his office.
Well, maybe if you answer Bob Jackson or Big Scott, they're asking what everybody wants.
I am not. My mother is watching, and I am not saying that.
Well, they're styrofoam what?
Human head skulls.
Wow. Wow. Terrible. Just tragic. How many pennants do you have piled up? 100 pennants do you have piled up?
We have a lot, but they're not in my office, so I don't care.
Indeed. All right. So we've made it to the allotted time that I wished. So we've done it. We're going to cast off on this. Thank you all for joining in on this impromptu post Super Bowl, whatever this is. Thank you, Amish Dave Archer, for gracing us with your presence and joining in on the conversation. We appreciate you as always. Check out the Amish Dave Archer YouTube channel where you can see various items. That's really the best way I can describe it. There's videos on it. Should I describe it? Yes. It's videos. Go watch them. If it looks like he's about to yell into a body of water, not safe for work.
The greatest YouTube Hall of Fame ballot video ever made.
There you go. Lofty praise from Bougie Eric, who has high standards. Think about it. He only appreciates the finest things like cyclocross.
In Belgium.
In Belgium.
I like Belgium.
He likes waffles.
I like
A
waffles
lot.
also.
He likes
I
waffles a
can
lot.
eat waffles in Belgium. It would be a good day. So that's what Name's doing right now, just rubbing my nose in it because he's a jerk.
As bougie as you are.
You're outside of Massachusetts, or you're in Massachusetts, and he's in Belgium. He's not technically rubbing your nose in it. See, that's what I thought you said at first. Psycho. I'm like,
No. Cycle.
Well, again, cyclocross also sounds better.
yeah.
Like yours still sounds like trash relative to a lot of these other alternative options.
Cyclocross would be a nice DVD, like Graduation Day.
Seriously, Dave, how many fucking random DVDs of bullshit do you have there?
There's B movies, and then what are you like? W movies?
Well, yeah, WWF, WCW, ECW.
Okay.
Well, no, the problem is, Dave, that a lot of the movies you have would be Mystery Science Theater 3000 ones if they were still running the shows.
I know that's that's sort of the nice part of it, because I'm so conditioned to shitty movies.
You are?
Go back and watch some of those Trauma Team stuff. Whew. They are some what is it? The Confederate cannibal corpses.
Hmm.
You scared
Is
me.
one of my favorites. They're supposedly eating a person, but it looks like a piece of chicken, probably because it is. And it's like a 5-minute, like you've got the microphone right next to their mouth. So you hear all the chomping and the noise they're making if you were to eat a piece of chicken. But listen to that for 5 minutes. It's like, that's what we call overkill.
Hmm.
But
A little bit.
Trauma Team was very good at that. So that stuff's enjoyable to me. I'm not a cinematic, obviously, masterpiece person when it comes to movies. That doesn't keep my attention. This stuff where it's just brutal acting and gory kills, that keeps my attention.
I see. Well, I can't wish I could remember the name, but I remember years and years ago, a buddy of mine and I went over to in Hamilton, because Lord knows why these idiots loved Hamilton. They're idiots. Did I mention they're idiots? They're morons. Anyway, so they go to Hamilton. So they wanted to go to Hamilton, and there's a little section of Hamilton called Hess Village, and this is where a lot of the university students and stuff would hang out. They'd have a lot of different bars, and it was Halloween, and Lord knows you've got a drinking like mecca here. And you got Halloween, a bunch of random bullshit. So we went to this one bar where they had this whole Halloween theme going on. Everybody was dressed up in all these costumes and everything and whatever. But they had one of these B movies going on in there. And I don't remember the name of it, but it was just, I'm literally sitting there. I'm like, I never did drugs, but I drank a hell of a lot. And I'm like, am I fucking imagining whatever the hell this is that's going on in this stupid B movie? And if you drink enough and you're watching a really bad B movie, you're going to wonder if that's reality or if you're just imagining whatever's going on the screen. And I was just sitting there like, but you know, in speaking to your sensibilities, I'm like, this would be a movie that Dave would appreciate. I wish I could tell you what it was, And I sat there like just staring at it, perplexed as I continued to down my pints of beverage, and I was just getting drunker and drunker and trying to comprehend this nonsense going on. That seems to be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Sleepaway camp. That's pretty standard. I'm pretty sure you've
Yeah,
seen
I've
that quite a
got
bit.
that somewhere amongst the collection.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me at all. Look, I saw Sleepaway Camp. I didn't watch the movie, but we had Sleepaway Camp on VHS in the store that I used to work at. So if you want to see it in old school, Sleepaway Camp on VHS. What Dave is saying is he's a man of culture, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Indeed. Well, Dave, it's been too long since we had a chance to see you. Fortunately, the timing worked out in this case. We were able to arrange it, but it is a pleasure to chat with you once again this evening. And again, appreciate you in general. Appreciation, bro, as always. Appreciation. You can check out Dave as well on also the Instant Revolution podcast, where on Tuesdays he will be hanging out with Broncos 79, Steve, who wasn't able to make it tonight, but we will get a chance to talk to him again down the road. And probably if the topic is right, I'll see if I can join you gentlemen on that fine establishment. Because, somebody has to stare at Vinny while he stares at you. So it feels like the right thing to do. He's good at that. He does a lot of that. But anyway, so you guys can check them out on those channels. I'll include a link to them later on. Later on in the replay, I'll include a link to some of that stuff if you guys want to check it out. Check it out. Because probably by next year, that'll be one of the... I think you guys will be eligible for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, no?
Yeah, if he drops the balloting video, I think it's after January 5th. I think that's like our 3-year mark.
So just tell him to do it on the 6th. Just be like, hey, can you just loophole
No,
us in here?
they'll do it on the 4th just to...
Well, I don't think you have any animus with Jake that I'm aware of.
I'm hoping not.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. I think it can be arranged.
You did mention it during the the speeches or whatever for the Hall of Fame folks. Something about like the IRP not getting mad at him or something about when Brad got in. It's like, well, yeah, if he didn't.
I was gonna say it was getting close. Brad was there right on the line. Yeah, and
I know.
He had a strong push. Well deserved.
Yes.
But he had a strong push there at the tail end. I do think I understood the change in the rules. I actually think it probably would have been wise this year to do 10. Because it was so strong right at the top of that line. Like it was like you might want to get some of these out of the way because then next year there's going to be a bunch that are going to come on the line that some people are going to want to vote for, and it's going to. If you do get a similar turnout, it's going to split the vote quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
it would
gonna
be
have
nice to get some of them out of the way, especially some of the ones who probably should have been in already. Just get them off the ballot, so to speak. That's just my thought.
Yeah, and I hope that the old Wilkie Award, the ARFL 77 for the old time guys, and the Joe Ryan 30, the Good Guy Award. I was hoping that would maintain too, just because again, even if Jake didn't know who they were, or a lot of other new folks didn't know of them, it's nice to have that as well, and sort of by default get like a couple more in that should be in, but in the same sense, then you don't have to worry about voting for them for the standard ballot.
That's what I mean. That's why my thought process is maybe just simplify it for some folks and just like find the avenue to get acknowledged, get them in there where you need to, and then you don't have to spend your time worrying about it. Maybe that is where the Veterans Committee concept that you guys were kind of discussing, maybe that's where that has to come in. Just put them in that way. That way we don't have to concern ourselves. That way it's easier. You don't have to concern yourself with it, and you can just be, and then you can focus on active channels where you think it might be appropriate, and then it narrows the focus of a lot of folks and makes it a lot easier for them to just get their head around it.
Yeah, say, hey, 1 or 2 years you ain't made, let's say 6 videos. If you haven't made 6 videos in 2 years or the past 2 years, you're going to be thought of in that old guard of folks that could be for that Veterans Committee. Somebody that could be nominated on the merits of your past YouTube contributions.
I think it's fair. It's a possibility. It's something we'll definitely have an opportunity, I think, to rehash. It was interesting. Like I said, this year was interesting because there was a lot of participation, which I thought was very intriguing, and ended up creating a bit of and there was quite a surge. Like you did very well. And I appreciated folks voting for the channel as well. It worked out that way. There was quite an increase in that regard. And it's one of those things, again, the key though is not to take it too seriously. They did make a website, which is really nice. I think it looks really well and did a good job with it. But again, Bob Lewis is in it, so we can't take it too seriously. We have to kind of like, measure it accordingly. Treat it in its appropriate thing until I get to successfully impeach Bob Lewis, and then you guys vote him back in, and then I impeach him, and then you vote him back in, and then I impeach him. It could be an annual tradition. It'd be fun. Everyone would enjoy it. It'd be fun for all the family.
Bob Lewis could have a YouTube patch with a teeter-totter on
it. Guys, the jokes write themselves. The opportunities are abundant. Why are we not thinking about this? Y'all are not thinking at the level that you should be thinking.
Outside the box. Think
outside the box, man. Outside the box, man. You got it. All right, folks. Pleasure chatting with you. It is now Monday morning on the East Coast, so enjoy your new week, I guess. Question mark. This is why I stopped doing the Sunday ones. I enjoy it, but it's rough on the Monday. So I'm gonna have to get back to work, and so will several of you on the West Coast. You still got a little time, so enjoy the rest if you're imbibing. Enjoy the rest of your Super Bowl. Lament it if you're a Philadelphia fan. Relish in it if you're a Kansas City fan, and if you're everybody else, meh. See you next year. Have yourselves a good one. We'll catch you in the next one.